TymeBank believes in a banking future with more for every entrepreneur. Start paying less and getting more. With TymeBank, you've got this.
Welcome to Small Business Evolution. I'm your host, Nontobeko Gumete. From never-ending load-shedding schedules to increases in operating costs and just living expenses in general, it is no secret that SMEs are facing serious challenges with the current economic landscape in South Africa. Joining me in studio to share ways in which small business owners can mitigate these problems is TymeBank CCO, Cheslin Jacobs. Cheslin, welcome back again.
Thanks for having me again.
The South African Reserve Bank earlier this year raised the repo rate by a further 25 basis points. And we also just have further increases all around, from your fuels to living expenses, all of that. So from your perspective, how does this affect SMEs? How does it affect the ecosystem overall?
Thanks for that question, Nonto. And I suppose it's a lot more than just the most recent interest rate increase, right? We've been stuck in an interest rate increase cycle, so we've had multiple increases. So it's kind of had the domino effect on businesses, I think. What businesses have to consider the most is the impact that it actually has on their clients, or the end consumers, you and I. And those very increases often hurt our pocket. And what that often does is then limits our ability to spend at these businesses, right? So what these businesses have to often look for opportunities to optimize within, right? So whether they optimize processes to make the way they do things slightly more affordable, whether they take a hit up front and stock up at a specific unit price before they get price increases that they might have to pass on to their customers, whether they look at different ways of either fulfilling their product, whether they look at different ways of selling their product, whether they look at different ways of distributing their product. The big thing, I think, for businesses is to often look for opportunities within their businesses, because with increasing interest rate cycles, is often the people who hurt the most are their customers.
When looking at the e-hailing services specifically, how can they implement certain strategies or tools in order to mitigate these problems?
Yeah, so funny you ask. I've been using e-hailing services quite a bit recently, and just in conversation with a lot of the drivers, what I've very quickly realized is that they understand their business intimately. They understand peak times, they understand off-peak times, they understand the pricing fluctuations based on where they are, based on what time they are in those places. And what they then do is change their patterns to meet the demand where they think they can maximize their income. So the nice thing about a business like that, it's one service. It's what these business owners call them that do is literally one thing. So the ability to focus on optimizing there is a lot easier. And I think that's, again, a big benefit for small businesses in general. Small businesses often have either a very limited set of services or a very limited set of products that they offer. But what that allows is laser focus. And often with laser focus, you can find all those opportunities to optimize.
I think earlier we were just touching on how there are different components that get affected by these rising costs and rising interest rates. We were just talking about how a business that fully functions online, it's not just them that have to think about what operating costs are involved that are increasing, but there's the end user as well. Can you just touch on that, again?
100%. As we said, is that you and I are those customers buying online, right? And if we've got less money at our disposal to spend, those online businesses are probably gonna hurt the most. So again, similarly, they've got to look at ways of, do they run specific promotions, etc. But what I know small business often struggle with is compromising margin, right? And that affects their bottom line, and you don't often want that to happen. So again, finding efficient ways of optimizing your business, whether that means you stock up at a specific unit price so you can maintain, whether you can maintain margins, whether you offer bulk deals to consumers if they buy more upfront, that increases your cash flow as well. The other thing I suppose hurt digital businesses the most is something as simple, not as simple, but load shedding, right? So I'm sure you've realized when you have load shedding or you're in an area with load shedding, your data connections or your cell phone connections are not very stable or not very reliable, then your ability to interact with online businesses are also compromised. So arguably load shedding is probably one of the things that are killing small businesses the most because of their reliance on consumers to have power and their businesses to have power to operate.
What services that TymeBank currently has or has set in place in order to assist SMEs when it comes to increasing operating costs?
Yeah. So I suppose less about services we can do to help manage increasing costs, but more products that I suppose can help with insulating when they do happen. So at TymeBank we have our savings product called GoalSave. It's the most lucrative liquid savings product in the country at the moment. There genuinely isn't another product that compares. And why savings is important is because it insulates you against these occurrences, right? So if a business can save, I would encourage any business to do that because again it builds up, call it collateral, it builds up a cash flow as a contingency when things like this potentially do happen. Our other business, Retail Capital, also what they do is they lend money to small businesses, and their main purpose for lending money to small businesses is to help those small businesses grow. So if you bank with TymeBank for your business, you then have access to a Retail Capital loan over time, which will actually help you expand, which will help you grow, and potentially help you manage some of these unforeseen expenses as well.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Cheslin.
It's always a pleasure, Nonto.
That was Cheslin Jacobs, CCO of TymeBank. Please do join the conversation on our social media using the hashtag SmallBizEvolution. I repeat, SmallBizEvolution. And we are very keen in getting your perspective on not only this matter, but the future of small business in the e-commerce space in general. That's it from me and the team. Goodbye.
TymeBank believes in a banking future with more for every entrepreneur. Start paying less and getting more. With TymeBank, you've got this.